Welcome to the Women in Engineering podcast. Today, I'm joined by Amy Fair from FDM Group, which is a tech services provider with Canadian operations based in Toronto, Ontario. Amy, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm actually just wrapping up moving, so if I sound a little bit off, that's probably why. But I'm doing well, thank you very much.
So, I'm just going to jump right into things. Tell me a little bit about what FDM does.
So FDM offers consulting services to clients that are mostly in the financial industry, although we are diversifying. So there's lots of different kinds of services. Personally, I work as a developer in a financial institution's operational support team. So I guess generally the business model is that FDM Group trains recent graduates with a lot of industry-specific training to work as IT consultants for its clients. So does that answer that question?
Yes, and what would a typical day at FDM look like for you then?
So there's a day as an FDM consultant can look like a lot of different things because, as I mentioned, FDM offers many different services, so it depends on where an individual is placed. So I'm a mainframe developer at a large insurance company. I work at my organization's operational support team. So my team supports applications across the business by responding to production problems, analyzing and resolving issues, generally monitoring the production environment. Basically, we keep the lights on for the business by maintaining and improving the performance, stability, and availability of applications. So what it looks like for me, I have been working from home. I started at FDM in January, and I've been placed at a client site since March. I've been enjoying working from home. I'm kind of a homebody. So what my day looks like generally is that I'm assigned support tickets. Um, these support tickets can be anything from investigating weird application behavior to see why something's working the way it is if it's not working as intended. It includes preventative maintenance, performance tweaks, automating some common tasks on the mainframe. And these tickets take anywhere from 1 hour to 50 hours to complete. I'd say on average, it's about 4 hours per ticket. And I really like this format of work because it's given to me in bite-sized chunks. It's really dynamic. So within a given day, I'll work on a few tickets, and the next day I'll work on a few different tickets. So I get a lot of variety, which keeps me engaged, which I really enjoy. I work 8-hour days, 9 to 5, and I've been enjoying my work-life balance. It's been pretty good. So yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I have a few meetings, usually towards the beginning of the week, just talking with other people on the team about what's been going on the mainframe. So are any jobs running late? Have we had any issues in production? What's the status of tickets across the business? So yeah, a balance of meetings and I guess working on relatively bite-sized chunks of application support.
That's really cool. So, how did you get to where you are from graduating from an undergraduate degree, or what was your path that you took to get where you are?
Oh boy, so this is a big question for me. So my background is in scientific research. So I did my bachelor's in integrated science at McMaster. And after finishing that, I did a master's in astronomy at Western. So over the course of my master's, I realized that I don't really think I'm cut out for a PhD. You really have to have like a special kind of self-directed dedication and devotion to your field in order to make it. And I absolutely adore astronomy, but I wanted the structure that would come with a job in industry. I've always been really passionate about computing for as long as I can remember, I've been glued to a screen. So I really wanted to try out working in IT. I figured that I have enough transferable skills from my research experience. I've worked on physics simulations, I've written software for data analytics, and most importantly, I just had problem solving skills from working in science, because the core loop of figuring something out in research, by making a hypothesis, testing it, and then revising your hypothesis, testing it again. That's really very similar, to me at least, to the process of debugging a piece of software. So I really fundamentally enjoy that process. So I figured I'd give that a shot in IT. So I joined FDM's AWS program in January. I didn't stay in that program for super long, because I interviewed and got accepted for the mainframe position that I'm in right now. So I guess that's the path in a nutshell. It's a longer story than that, but I think that's a decent summary for you.
Yeah, thank you. So what's your favorite part about working at FDM in your mainframe position?
So I really, really love that core loop of observing an application's behavior, coming up with hypotheses for why it's not working as expected, and testing them. So I that's what drew me towards scientific research in the first place. And I find that it's a lot faster in IT. So in research, it might take years to make a hypothesis and test it and write it up. And as I mentioned earlier, the average ticket that I handle at work takes about 4 hours. So it's like really immediate feedback for me, kind of like instant gratification. I don't have to wait to see if I was wrong about something, or at least I don't have to wait that long. So it's good for my short attention span. And I like that, yeah, I like that there's bite-sized chunks of problems to solve. I like that there's a large diversity of problems to solve, because as opposed to if I were developing a new application, I would be working on that one application for a while. And I don't mind that, but I like that I get to see all sorts of different things in my operational support role, because I'm supporting applications across an entire large business, and I like I like that I get that breadth. I like that a lot. It's really gratifying to explore new topics, and I get to explore new topics all the time.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. So changing gears a little bit then, what advice would you give to students starting their first job based on your experiences and how you got to where you wanted to be?
Yeah, so my career path to get here is a little bit circuitous, so I guess take this with a grain of salt. I would say that IT is a really large field, like a really, really large field. There's so many different kinds of things to do. And depending on how your brain works as an individual, you might find some of those mind numbing and you might find some of those absolutely thrilling. And there's really no way to know besides actually starting a project or doing the work to see how it works for you. So I guess I would recommend just taking time to feel out what's out there, find out what you're passionate about. And in my experience, I guess I've done that through personal projects. So I always have some little project going on. I've made video games. I'm getting into web development recently. It's not important so much what you do as long as you're constantly trying out new things and learning and finding out what works for you, and in the process building up the problem solving skill set that you can really use anywhere. So yeah, I'd say just getting hands-on experience is really, really valuable for starting off in IT. And you could do that through hackathons. I've never been to a hackathon before, but I know that they do offer some great opportunities for networking as well as practicing making a product. But you can also contribute to open source projects, like on GitHub. There's everything from web browsers that you can contribute to like scientific software, to whatever you personally, whatever kind of software you enjoy using, you can find that type of software to contribute to online. And aside from hackathons, there's plenty of online communities for learning IT and starting new projects. On, I guess, Discord, you could find some servers for that, or on Twitter. My projects have personally been pretty solo, but there's lots of places where you can find interesting things to do. There's probably plenty of student groups on campus at Western that have lots of people in a similar situation to I guess whoever's listening to this who might be trying to get into the industry. So you might be able to find someone to work on a project together. Collaborating is really, really good to do because you get to absorb someone else's experience and knowledge, and you get to refine your own by talking to them about it. So yeah, I haven't done a lot of collaborative projects on my own, but it's definitely a good thing to do. So I'd encourage anyone to do that.
So just getting involved and kind of figuring out your passion.
Yeah, absolutely. And the projects that you work on don't have to be profitable. They don't have to be professional. They could literally just be silly video games you make in 2 weeks or even one weekend, because it's all refining the core skill set that you'll use anywhere in IT. I've actually participated in a bunch of game jams. So those are events where over the course of anywhere from like 1 day to 1 month, there's like a theme to make a video game about. And it's really fun because you can talk to other developers that are also working on a project following that theme. You can share what you've made with your friends, see if they enjoy playing it. And it's a low pressure environment. No one's going to get upset with you if you don't make a fun game. But it's just an excuse to work on something. So I guess work on anything, especially things that are gratifying for you.
Yeah, that's some really, really good advice, actually. And what's some advice you would give to students interviewing for internships or jobs?
I guess this connects with what I was just talking about. And that is finding what you're passionate about and what works for your brain specifically. Because I think it's pretty clear to a lot of interviewers whether the person that they're interviewing is like really genuinely excited about the kind of work they'd be doing, or whether they're just doing it because it's a thing to do. And I guess being able to work on your specific passion is definitely a privilege, but I guess I would advise people to, again, just find what excites them. So um, I don't know if I really articulated that well, but enthusiasm shows and it pays off, and that time that you spend finding what interests you pays off for that reason. I would also say for interviews specifically, take some time beforehand to get to know the company you're applying to, know how their business model works, because that will allow you to, I guess, take a guess at what they want in their candidates. So if you understand a company's business model, you can understand like what kind of person would this company like to hire, and you can emphasize certain things about yourself accordingly. Also, it just generally looks good when you are knowledgeable about the organization that you're applying to. So yeah, research and enthusiasm.
And what do you think is the biggest mistake a student can make leading up to, during, or following an interview?
Oh dear. Okay. Well, it's more fun, honestly, talking about what you can do right than what you can do wrong. But it's really easy to doubt yourself because I mean I've been discouraged for a long time from actually starting in IT because I don't know XYZ technology. I don't know this topic in development, and that's honestly fine. It's more about intuition and problem solving than it is about a specific piece of knowledge that you may or may not have. So don't let that get to your heads, because I've I've on my end failed more interviews just by not applying to them or not really selling myself on something because I figured I wasn't qualified. Um, let's see. I think that's what comes to mind off the top of my head. Um, does that answer the question?
Yeah, I feel like you're kind of just trying to articulate, be confident in yourself
Yeah.
and your abilities.
Yeah, especially as a woman in a male-dominated field, it's really easy to um, I mean, I guess I'll say it's hard to take up space and assert yourself, but and it's easy to assume that everyone else everyone else is better at saying things and knows more than you do, and that's absolutely not true. So yeah, just confidence in your own skill sets and don't let lack of knowledge in specific technologies dissuade you.
Thank you. I wanted to ask if there's anything else you'd like to share.
Off the top of my head, not immediately.
Well, hopefully, if you're open to it, our students can also reach out through the club if anyone in particular would like to. Would you be okay with that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Perfect. So I want to thank you so much for your time, and of course, thank FDM for the opportunity to be on the podcast. And have a great rest of your day.
Thank you very much. You too.